Okay, so this is going to be a live class session. Okay, so here we have Yagneshwar. So so today we are going to see about so what is the what is Entra ID? How are we going to connect Entra ID with Azure DevOps? Okay, this is the Azure DevOps real time the real time project. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to see no we are going to see that so how we can connect from, for example, if you can go here. Okay, now what's happening is that so we have Azure here. Okay, so we have, this is the Azure portal. Okay, so we have a, this is the Azure DevOps portal. Okay, so this is the Azure DevOps portal. So what are we going to do is that we are going to we are going to establish a connectivity between so this Azure with the Azure DevOps. So if you're running any pipelines, if you're running any pipelines, so then this Azure and this Azure DevOps will be connected together. Okay, so for example, this is Azure. Okay, so this is Azure portal, and this is the Azure DevOps portal. Okay, so this is the sorry, this is the, okay, as you can see here. Okay, Azure. So in this case, what you have to do is that we have to go inside in the Entra ID. So we should go inside the Entra ID. Okay, so here the same Entra ID is going to be calling us a, I mean here the connectivity is going to be as a service connection. Okay, here we are going to Entra ID, and then what are we going to do is that we are going to create a service. Okay, service principal. Okay, now we can go here. Okay, Entra ID. Okay, so if you're not able to find it, you can just search here that Entra. Okay, Microsoft Entra ID. So the Entra ID, what is Entra ID? Means the Entra ID is nothing but so this is used to connect your your Azure portal with the Azure DevOps portal. Okay, so if you wanted to create a pipelines that will create infrastructure from Azure portal to the Azure, so Azure portal to the Azure DevOps, from the Azure DevOps portal to the Azure portal, then we need to establish a connection. Okay, so how to create that particular connection here? Now what we're going to do is that so we are going here, Entra ID we are going. Okay, so we have seen the app registrations. Okay, so the major the major things whatever we are going to do is that it's going to be app registrations. Okay, so you can see here all applications. We already created some of the the previous sessions. We have created a app registrations for Azure DevOps, and so there are many things we have created. Okay, now if you want to connect your your applications to that will be connected to the Azure DevOps, first of all we need to create a new registration, new app registration. Okay, so this new app registration is going to be, okay, the cloud registration hyphen, okay, so pipeline, so easy do Azure DevOps pipeline. So easy do is nothing but Azure DevOps. Okay, so we are going to support the the supported account type, for which account we are going to associate it with. Okay, so account in this organizational directory only, which means that in the current organization directory, which means that for this particular account only I wanted to grant a permission. Okay, so the account in the organization directory. All right, so now what I'm going to do, so the redirect URL is not required. Okay, leave it. Okay, now I'm going to click on register. Okay, now what I've created is that here I've created a so the app registration. So app registration here is called as a app registration, is called as a service principal. Okay, if you go here it will be called as a app registration. Okay, so here again it's called as a service principal. Yes, right. Okay, now we've already created a service principal. Okay, how are you going to add the service principal to your project so that your pipeline will be able to access this Azure DevOps Azure portal? Okay, so now we have created this one. Now we are going to the Azure portal, Azure DevOps portal. Okay, so you should not confuse with Azure portal with Azure DevOps portal. Okay, this is the Azure DevOps portal, right? So this is the Azure DevOps portal. What we're going to do, we're going to the organization, right? So we already have one organization. Okay, so we are going to use the same organization. Okay, Terraform project is what the organization we created. Okay, inside that I have one project called Terraform project. Okay, so if you want, I'm going to create a new organization itself. Okay, I'm going to create a new organization. It's going to be, okay, just asking me to, I think, okay, so this is trying to log into the Azure Devops portal now. Okay, so initially, first of all, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new organization. Okay, so the organization name is going to be, okay, getting started with Azure DevOps. Again, it's asked, I don't know why. RQ4P3. Okay, if I click on new organization, again, it's going to take project name. Create a project name. Started. Hey, why it is happening? Okay, so yeah, so the organization name I have to give it here. I'm so sorry. So organization name is going to be Cloud Institution. Okay, AZ2 project. Okay, so now I'm going to give YM6 or KS. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new organization. Sorry, I just by mistake I've created two organizations before. Okay, now it's creating a new organization. Okay, now inside this Azure DevOps project, I'm going to create a new project. The project's name is going to be um, Cloud. Okay, so Cloud AZ2 project. Okay, I'm going to create a project. So these are all things we have seen in the last session. Okay, it's taking a while. Okay. Now if you can see, the project has been created. Okay. Now what we can do is that we can go to repository and just check. We can initialize the repository with the README file so that we can see the repository files. Okay. This is what the simple repository we have created. Okay. Now what we're going to do is that we are going to connect Azure DevOps with the Azure. Okay. Now we can go to project settings. In the top bottom you can see the project settings. Okay, click on the project settings. Okay, so you click on the project settings. All right, so now you can go for you need to search for service connections. Okay, so now if you come all the way down, you can see something called service connections. Okay, click on service connections. Okay, so the create service connection. So you have to be a the root user to so the master user to create the administrative user to create the service connection. Okay, so I'm going to create service connection. Okay, so now what I'm going to choose is that so there are various ways we can create a service connection. Okay, service connection is nothing but how your DevOps project, for example, so if this is my Azure DevOps, how my Azure DevOps portal is going to connect with Azure or any other services. If you wanted to connect with the GitHub also you can connect it, right? How this particular service is going to be connecting with the Azure portal. Yes, right. So now we're going to create with the Azure Repos or Azure Resource Manager. Okay, so this is what called ARM. Okay, Azure resource manager, we are going to be selecting it, right? So now I'm clicking on next. Okay, so now we can see here. Okay, now we can see here. Okay, so now we can see here, there are various options that is being granted for the uh, your application. Okay, so it is called app registration manually. Okay, so now here we can give secrets. Okay, now because using a secrets certificate will require the manual rotation of the management. We recommend to workload identity rotation. So for now we can use the secrets. So I'm going to show you that how we can use the secret. Okay, now we can see the subscription. Okay, now we need to add all the details. Now we have created, so in this, sorry, okay, in the Azure we have created this kind of details, right? We need to fill in all the details. Okay, now what we are going to do is that we're going to Azure Cloud. Okay, so this is Azure Cloud, right? Azure Cloud. So subscription, what is subscription? So we'll open a new tab. Okay, subscription is not showing here. Okay, now we can go to the new tab. Okay, we can go to new tab and click on subscription. We can click on subscriptions. Okay, click on subscriptions. We can see the subscription ID. Okay, you can copy the subscription ID. Okay, so this is subscription ID. I'm going to copy it. Okay, the subscription name is going to be, okay, Azure subscription 1. Okay, subscription name is going to be Azure subscription 1. Yes, right. Okay, so now we are going to see the client ID. So where is the client ID? Client ID is over here. Okay, we can copy the client ID over here. This one, copy clipboard, and then, okay, so tenant ID. What is tenant ID? Tenant ID, this one. Okay, the copy to clipboard, copy tenant ID. So this is the tenant ID. Okay, so these are all the basic information which will be requiring to add it. Okay, now the server's principal key, the client secret, how to create a key. So what is the key? So for this particular purpose, okay, we need to create a secret. Okay, so what is the secret here? Now we can go back here. This is our service principal, which is which is called as a app registration, right? We can go to the certificates and secrets. Okay, now click on new client secrets. Okay, now we are going to give Azure DevOps, okay, secret. Okay, Azure DevOps secret. Okay, so now what we can do is we can just make sure that so how many days it will take to expire this particular secrets. Okay, how many days it will take, that so that will take to expire. Okay, so for example we can just check that so we can just which date you wanted to mention. For example, I'm just giving that so like 24 into 3 months, I'm giving less 3 months. Okay, so for each and every 3 months you need to go and renew this particular certificates. Okay, now click on add. Done. Okay, right. Now this secret is added. Now we can just copy this secret. So this particular secret will be valid only for few seconds only, few hours. So if you can refresh it, you won't be getting it, right? Now I'm going to here client secrets. Okay, you can also verify it. Okay, so it will take some time because just now we have got created it, so because still it's not been, so still it will take very fraction of seconds to verify it. Okay, so now let's verify. Okay, it is taking some time. Okay, so now the subscription Okay, so the fail to query the service connection APIs, the management error forbidden. Okay, authentication failed, error message. So does not have a authorized to perform actions. The subscription. Okay, if you access recently granted, please refer your credentials. Okay, now I'm going to verify it and save it. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say I need to grant a permission for this one. Okay, I can grant a permission maybe later. Okay, so how do I need to grant a permission? Okay, for in order to grant a permission, what you have to do, you can go to subscription. Okay, click on subscriptions. Click on subscriptions here. Okay, so you have to go for access control IAM. Access control IAM. Okay, it's taking some time. So as you can see the errors, right? As you can see the error, what is the error you're getting? Okay, the forbidden. Okay, to the performance. So this particular ID, particular authentic service principal, does not have authorized to perform action. What subscription? Okay, read. Okay, so we it's not able to read this particular subscription. So what is subscription? This is the subscription. So now what we can do? We need to go and grant the permission for this one. Okay, so now we need to go and grant the permission so that this particular ID will be able to access the subscription. Okay, so I don't know why, but it's still loading. Okay, okay, you need to go to role assignments. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give a privileged administrative roles only. I'm going to privileged administrative roles. Okay, now I'm going to give. Okay, so here, okay, so what you have to do is add role assignment. Okay, so role assignment, some of the things might be already there. I'm going to add role assignment, new role assignment. Okay, now add role assignments. Okay, so the privileged administrator role. Okay, you can also give reader access, right? So you can also give reader access, but if you wanted to grant a permission to provision, the provision, all the resources, you can give the contributor access. Okay, contributor access will be allowing most of the access to the subscription to your DevOps. Okay, now you can see service principal. Okay, so you can give user groups or service principal is there. So what we have created, service principal we have created, right? So now select members. This one called service principal, right? So now let's go and see what is the service principal. So service principal is going to be cloud institution, easy to pipeline is the service principal we have created. Okay, now we can go to select members. Okay, so the service principal is going to be, okay, let's copy this one, cloud institution, easy pipeline. Okay, so see, cloud institution Azure pipeline is the application. Okay, service principal app registration we can choose. Okay, it's going to be adding it. Now click on next. Okay, so review and assign. Okay, now the role assignment will be reviewing it and then it's going to be assigning it. So now what happens? Now what we have done is we have created an Azure portal. In the Azure portal, okay. So we have created a service principal which is the app registration. Okay, so here what we have also done, we created a secrets, okay, and then we also added what, IAM. Okay, so which is identity and access management, IAM role to contribute. Okay, so to the contributor and access we are added in IAM, so then it should be able to have the connections. Okay, now we are going in to here. Okay, now let's verify it. See, now its verification succeeded because the IAM portal, IAM whatever we have just created, it's going to be granting a permission for this pipeline to be accessed. Okay, so now if you're creating any pipelines, if you're creating any pipelines over here, okay, so in the Azure DevOps connection, okay, that should be able to connect to this particular subscription only. Okay, so even though if you have thousands of subscriptions, you won't be having a the access to that all the subscriptions. Okay, so this particular service connections only be able to access the specific subscriptions. All right. Okay, now what we can do is we can give a service connection name. Okay, this is for this connection name is for this particular Azure DevOps itself. Okay, so Azure Cloud Institution. Okay, so service connection. Okay, description is not required. If you want, you can just give it. Okay, so the grant permission to all pipelines. If you can grant it, so all the pipelines, whatever you creating it, it's going to be working. Okay, otherwise it won't work for all the service connections. Okay, now you can verify it and save it. Okay, I can see never. Okay, so now this is how you will be creating the service connection. Okay, so hope you understand this particular concept. Right, so this is how you will be creating a service connection. So now all the service connections, all the pipelines, whatever you're going to write in this particular application is going to be, connecting to your particular app registries. Through the app registrations, you will be able to connect it, right? So this is how you'll be able to provision any resources. Okay, so now in the next upcoming video, we're going to create some simple pipeline, and then we are going to see how we can access this particular service connection with the Azure portal. Okay, so that's all about this video. Okay, thank you so much for watching. So Yagnesh, did you understand this concept?
Yeah, Dilip, actually it was a nice class. Your lecture was good.
Yeah, so I'll give you time. So I'm going to stop recording. Okay, I'll give you time to practice. I'm going to explain it to you how this is going to be working. So I'm going to share the recording as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Actually,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.